So, a daily investment of 30, distinguished Toastmaster Satish Menon, a daily investment of 30.
Thank you, Toastmaster Niveda. One disclaimer, since I've recently undergone a surgery, I'm not standing up and delivering my speech because there are still a lot of bandages around. So I'm just sitting down and delivering. So good morning, everyone. When I joined Toastmasters, the reason for me to join Toastmasters was not that I had to improve my communication skills or I had to improve my leadership skills or I had a stage fear or I was afraid of going and speaking to individuals. My joining Toastmasters was for a totally different reason. As part of an organization that was planning to scale up, one of the things that we always used to encounter was that we had a very good talent pool of resources who were technically very, very good. But when it came to interaction with their colleagues, with their peers, with their superiors, with customers, there was still something missing. It was, in most cases, sense that how would I go and ask something? People were generally afraid to ask questions. The second was very vague communication. So when you communicate something very vaguely, the other side doesn't understand what you are trying to say. It could be a yes, it could be a no, or it could be maybe, but how am I to understand? Third is thinking that no is not the correct answer. So if I say no, then everyone will be get angry at me. People will say that I don't know anything. Or customers might say we will take our business somewhere else. So people generally refrain from saying no. But what was the fallback? What was the effect of that? You ended up doing more work. You ended on taking on more work than what you can do, stretching yourself to the limit, sometimes working what I would say as 27 or 30-hour days, sacrificing your holidays, family time, just to deliver something because you wouldn't stand up and say no or give a proper understanding of what it takes to deliver something to your customer. It could be internal customer, it could be external customer. Now, if you work so many hours a day, don't expect the output to come out to be very good. Definitely, because you are struggling against time, you are pushing your body to the limit. Definitely, there will be something which will get left out in the final deliverable. And then what used to happen because of that was again an unhappy customer, an unhappy boss, unhappy team members, and unhappy you. Where was this all leading to? You could try your best by trying to coach people not to say this. You could try your best by saying, don't get into all these issues. These are all things which keep happening. Okay. Be very realistic when you speak to people. Whenever you're told to give a status report, people were not very concise. They used to talk a lot of technical stuff. Now imagine sitting in front when you have got senior management sitting and you kind of start talking technical stuff. You have kind of lost the audience. They are not looking for details. They are only looking for concise points which say, tell me what is it that I need to know, tell me what is the help that you require from me, and tell me when a particular thing will get delivered. You have to be very concise. When you travel abroad, it's not all about just work, work, work. You have to interact with customers. It's a totally different culture abroad. What you do in India is not what you will do outside of India. Be it at work, be it when you're in a restaurant, be it when you're traveling, okay, be it when you're in a supermarket. There's a lot of cultural things involved. Now, how do you connect more with people? And we were grappling with all of this. issues. We used to do a lot of trainings for people, very good trainings, very good trainers. But what is the use of a training if it doesn't get implemented? A lot of us have gone through this in our professional careers also, where we go to a lot of professional trainings from very good trainers. But end of the day, when you come back to work and you don't implement any of that, what you've learned, that training is of no use. Training is happens for 3 days, three three concentrated days. You will sit, you will learn a lot, you will say, yes, this is what I will do. You go back to office on Monday, the first escalation comes. Nothing that you learned in the training gets implemented because you're again back to firefighting and trying to best salvage the situation. So when we were grappling with all of this, I encountered Toastmasters at a customer's location. I saw a lot of people walking into a room, uh, and I knew a lot of them. But I could see that a lot of them were managers from different verticals, and then there were people from different levels in the organization. There were management trainees, there were freshers, there were middle level managers, senior level managers. So I was like kind of intrigued. Why are these people going and together and sitting in a room? They have got nothing in common other than the fact that they work for the same company. And then I used to hear occasional clapping from inside. And these guys will all used to come out at the end of 1 hour. So out of curiosity, I caught one of them one day in the cafeteria and asked, "What do you guys do there every week? I see some of you standing there and speaking, and everybody clapping, and then you come out." So he said, "Why don't you come for our next meeting? You will see what it is." So I went for the next meeting out of curiosity, and that was my first initiation to Toastmasters. And when I walked in there, I found these guys doing what we usually do in a Toastmasters meeting. But I was kind of intrigued. Why should they need this? They don't need all of this. So that inquisitiveness took me to their country head in India. And I asked that guy, why are you guys doing this? I mean, your people are all uh, technically good, and I'm sure most of them have good communication. Why do you need all this? He says, technically good, yes, that's what he told me. But communication, interpersonal skills, I have my reservations. He says, when I get feedback from my counterparts across the world with whom these people work, the common, not the complaint, I would say, but he says the common feedback that I get is that a lot of them, though technically good, lack in communication. They overcommit. They don't know how to present uh, data in a proper manner. Meetings tend to get dragged. Uh, they're not very concise. Okay, and people overcommit for time, and then they later on they kind of skip and they don't adhere to the timelines, and everything ends with a sorry, and they think once you say sorry, it's everything gets resolved. But that doesn't happen in other cultures around the world. Then I figured out that what their problem is and what my problem is the same. So it doesn't matter whether you are a Fortune 20 organization or whether you are a small organization like mine. The problem is universal, and that's why I decided to start a Toastmasters club. Now, when we started the club, we got a lot of people signing in. We told all the managers in the organization, and then they sent people in. And when all these people came, they were very shy people. Some of them were good in speaking, but most of them were very shy. They were technically very good. Tell them to do something, they will sit, they will do it diligently. But ask them to speak to a customer, ask them to stand and present status report, go tell them to go tell the customer that this thing will not take, uh, this thing will, as the customer has asked, if this is going to take 3 days, they will say 2 days. The thing might actually take 7 days to do. Okay, but they didn't have it in them to say it's going to take 7 days, because somewhere in their mind it was that if I tell something more, I will not get, uh, we will not get the work, or I would be considered as I don't know anything. So slowly, when these people came to Toastmasters meeting, there was an initial shyness to speak. There was an initial reluctance to come and take up roles and everything. But then they figured out it was a smaller audience, known audience, so they could stand, speak, they could afford to make mistakes, and all of that. So they generally started. People started giving their. That time it was the CCCL manual, not the pathways. Okay, so they started with their CCCL manuals. They started giving speeches. People started designing flyers for the club. Uh, Meetings used to happen regularly. Tuesdays, I remember, Tuesdays, 10 o'clock in the morning, the entire conference room used to be filled with people. So what this did is over a period of time, maybe 3 4 months down the line, I got call from a couple of the customers whom these resources used to work. And so I went and spoke to those people, and then two of them, rather, I still remember, two of the customers said, "What have you done to these people?" So I was kind of very concerned. I said, "What have you done means what? I mean, is there something wrong in the way they are working, or is there something else?" He said, "No, no. When I'm saying something wrong, I suddenly see a drastic improvement in some of these individuals." So I was very happy. At least the customer is saying that there is a improvement. I said, "What kind of improvement?" He says, "Suddenly I'm finding over the last 1 month that some of them are actually becoming very vocal in the meetings." So I said, "Is it good or is it bad?" He said, "No, it's very good. We want people to kind of open up and speak." He says, "These people are becoming very vocal." I said, and he said, named one person and said, "This person who never used to open his mouth is now standing up and saying no to certain things." Which also I asked him, "Is that a bad thing?" He said, "No, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing." He said, "This is what I always wanted people to kind of say. If you don't agree on something, say no." And he said they are becoming very concise in the way they are standing and presenting. So today, I can see that whenever we ask them something, their replies are very concise, to the point, and we get all the information that I want. So what have you done to them? I said, "We've not done anything to them. As far as I know, they are what they were earlier. Only change that has happened is they are part of a Toastmasters club now, and they attend Toastmaster meetings." So the customer asked, "Is it because of that?" I said, "Yeah, it could be because of that. Because that is the only thing that has changed, nothing else. They work for the same organization, they work for the same customer, which is you. Okay. They report to the same place every day. Only thing that changes is this Tuesday meeting." He says, "If that is the case, you should put more people through this, because I'm giving you a feedback that these people have improved because of that." And a lot of them did come and tell me that, saying that because of Toastmasters, they could kind of see a new confidence in themselves. And I'm not telling this to sell Toastmasters, because I don't get any commission by trying to sell Toastmasters. Okay? So I'm only telling this to say a personal experience that has happened in a communication journey by running a club. Because they were more confident now, because they were very uh, good now, they've started asking questions. A lot of them also wanted to now move on to bigger organizations, which is very good for us. So as they moved on to bigger organizations, some came and said that being part of Toastmasters actually helped them, uh, gave them the confidence to kind of aspire more, to go bigger than where they are today. Okay. Which was, I was very happy for that, because for me, every individual has to grow. If you don't get opportunities within a setup, you have to basically look beyond that. And I'm happy that a lot of them did move and move ahead. One guy came and told me that he got the job because of Toastmasters, because the interviewer was also a Toastmaster, and his technical interview lasted only 5 minutes, and the rest 20 minutes they were speaking about pathways. By the time pathways had got introduced, so Toastmasters did help him get a better job, and he's still there in that organization. He's risen 3 or 4 levels. I can see from his LinkedIn account. What does it all tell us today is that this communication journey is like what Toastmaster Niveda just mentioned, is planting the seed. If you plant the seed is not going to grow into a plant tomorrow. Okay? Seed will take time to grow, but you have to kind of nurture that seed as you go along. And as the tree grows, there is certain low hanging fruit that you can capture, eat. Okay? Simple low hanging fruit is like being a better, going and speaking to people. That doesn't take any effort. You only have to come out of your mindset to say, yes, I'm going and speaking to people. Okay. So you start reaping the benefit of Toastmasters in a very quick manner. I was once in Chennai International Airport waiting to receive a world champion of public speaking who was supposed to do a keynote for a district conference. He got stuck inside the airport because there was some problem with his visa for some reason. They were not letting him in. On a hunch, I called that guy on his mobile. He answered the mobile. I told him to give the mobile to to the immigration officer. In 2 minutes, I had to explain to the immigration officers what Toastmasters is, what we do, what is our funding model, why is this guy here, what is he going to speak about, and when is he going to go back. At the end of 2 minutes, the immigration officer said, I'm convinced, I'm stamping his visa, he's coming out. So that is what we do in table topics. But that practice of speaking will only come if you practice in a club meeting. Okay? You can't sit uh, and imagine and say that from tomorrow I'll be a good speaker from tomorrow. Unless you don't practice being a good speaker, where will you become a good speaker? Right? Unless you don't take feedback, where will you become better? Speech over speech. Right? Unless you don't practice table topics, where will you get that art of speaking on the fly? Okay? It doesn't, it comes naturally to 1% of individuals, but the rest 99% have to practice. Yeah. Practice could be anywhere. Practice at work, practice in the workplace, practice at home. Okay. Anywhere it could be, but you have to keep practicing. That's what is very important. So consistency is very, very important. What you reap is what you will sow. Okay. Sometimes the fruits are very low hanging. You can pick them immediately. Sometimes it takes time. A lot of people say money. What is money? You look at, do the conversion math. Okay. $60, $120 a year into 90. Correct? So 120 into 90 divided by 365 will only come to some 30-35 rupees a day. 30-35 rupees a day you put in a piggy bank, okay, and invest that money in Toastmasters, where you are getting a best education here for communication and speaking, and you are practicing it every week. You can practice it every day also in the workplace, at home, anywhere. But you are kind of getting that opportunity to refine your skills in a Toastmasters meeting. 30 rupees in today's world, even 50, 35, 40 rupees in today's world is nothing. Okay? You go and drink a cup of tea, it will cost you 20 rupees. Okay? But that 30 rupees a day, you are investing in a world class education, which you yourself are learning at a self pace. Like I mentioned in my presidential address, nobody is telling you to write an exam. Nobody is giving you marks. Okay, nobody is marking attendance. Nobody is going to call your, as I said, parents or ward or husband or wife to say he or she is not attending a Toastmasters meeting. Nobody is going to tell that. It's all at your own pace. It's all at your own, in your own style. Okay? That's why in Toastmasters doesn't say by when you have to complete a pathway. You sign up a pathway, you can complete it in 2 months, you can take 1 year also to complete. Yeah. They have never put a timeline to it, say that every pathway has to be done in 1 month, every speech level has to be done in 2 weeks and all. No, no one's telling you that. And you are free to select your own pathway. No one says that you've got to start with presentation mastery. Nobody says that you've got to start with persuasive speech. Nothing. You select what you want to kind of be better at and start working on it. So that's what is very important. When I say 30 rupees a day investment, it is that. No other training course in this world will give you this flexibility and this learning. And the best part is this Toastmasters membership that you have with you. You can virtually go to any club anywhere in the world and give a speech. Yeah. That's what is very important. So imagine the kind of experience that you're getting. Sitting in Chennai, you could go and attend a club meeting in the US. You can go to Europe. You can go to Australia. If you are there physically for on business or leisure or anything, you can actually walk into a club meeting and give a speech or take up a role. Where will you get this kind of experience and knowledge? So investment of 30 rupees does go a very long way. It's like an SIP that you do. I put 2,000 rupees a month in an SIP. Today it is 2,000. After 5 years, looked at it, that SIP would have gone to maybe 3 or 4 lakhs, depending on the right investment that you have made. Right? So don't think about saying that I'm wasting time. Don't think about what is in it for me. And the best part is, as a tree takes time to grow, even these skills take a time to grow. And the tree, by looking at itself, doesn't know that it has grown tall. It's only people looking at the tree will know that the tree has gone tall. Correct? That is the same thing with Toastmasters. You will not know that you are becoming a better communicator, but people around you will start sensing it. And that would be the, I would say, the final result of when people come and say that you have improved yourself, like that customer said, that what you have done with your employees. That is when you will know that you are on the right path of communication. Thank you and happy Toastmastering.